Well, hello and welcome tonight. I'm excited to talk to you tonight about what is Schoolytics. Now, I'm a Schoolytics user. I love Schoolytics because while I love Google Classroom, I want to upgrade it and do more. So I have a special guest with me, my super good friend, Dr. Anna Hartranft, who's like the nicest person ever, and she's going to share with you a little bit about Schoolytics, and then I'm going to come back and show you what I really love about Schoolytics.
Hey, Alice, thanks for the intro. Great to be here. What is Schoolytics? Schoolytics is all of the Google Classroom analytics that you always dreamed of. And anytime you were doing something in Google Classroom and you thought, this could be easier, that is where Schoolytics comes in. We're a Google for Education partner, and we love to make Google Classroom even more efficient and useful for teachers. Okay, let's talk about what that means. We have worked to design a more efficient classroom. Our team at Schoolytics, Alice Keeler, amazing developer and expert, and you. We have had so many teachers give us feedback over the last 2 years, and we're able now to take these things that maybe felt like they were in a black box. So things like assessments and attendance, homework, grades, everything that you're putting into Google Classroom, it's there, but it may not have been as useful to you. If you have to download a spreadsheet every time you want to look at grades, that's not very useful. So at Schoolytics, we help you go from Google Classroom gradebooks into Insights. And one of the reasons maybe why teachers haven't been able to use Google Classroom fully is because they can't see all of the stats in one place. So you can't really be penalized for not having your topics perfectly in order, or maybe you're naming your assignments and you're using the 001, 002. It's really hard to keep track of all of that if you can't see your stats in one place. And when students are submitting work late, it's really hard to know when they've submitted that work and going back. So that's where Schoolytics comes in. Again, we help you go from those classroom spreadsheets, which have great data in them, into insights and action. So here's a copy of that teacher homepage. And again, it's all of the things that are in Google Classroom transformed into those kind of quick views. So if we're zooming in on those action items, you'll see things, and you can go to the next screen. Yeah. All of these things that you can take advantage of right away. You can take advantage of your limited prep time to send automated missing assignment reminders, or send high fives to students. All of this is pre-built and ready to go based on what's happening in Google Classroom. I'll give you another peek. So for example, one that's been really popular this year is the high fives. This looks across for one student, all of their assignments, and lets you set criteria as a teacher, and then to share that feedback with your students. And this is data-based student feedback. So it's not just, I see that you're putting in effort, but this is what you've achieved. And you can use that data to celebrate student learning. Absolutely, Alice. Another way that teachers love Schoolytics is it helps you keep students on track in less time. So when students are missing work, you can send them this missing assignment reminder. You don't have to input any links. It all comes directly from Google Classroom. You just have to choose your date range and then press send. It's amazing. You can also post it to the stream. Yes, thanks, Alice. And then if you want to go further, you can analyze progress by topic. You can see all of your topics in one place. You can also add your own tags. I'm sure Alice is going to go into that in a little bit. And this helps you reflect as a teacher and get to where you want to be. All of that great instructional stuff, like what should I reteach? Which students have met the standard? How are students performing by topic? In Google Classroom, you could do this, but it would take you a very long time. And in Schoolytics, with the topics chart, it's available instantly. So as soon as your lesson is over, or as soon as you've graded something, you can click in here and see how many assignments have been completed and the points average. And Alice is saying you cannot do this in Google Classroom. Thanks, Alice. Okay, so at Schoolytics, we know that connected classroom data has system-wide impacts. So it's not just going to help you as a teacher, it's going to impact everyone who's in the classroom and connected to the classroom. For students, it allows you to intervene early, and giving that personal support helps them address the learning targets that are relevant to them. When you are able to save time with planning, you can ask those bigger questions. You can choose different student groups to go back and reteach. And when you include parents, then they know what's missing. They feel empowered to ask for more clarification, but they already know what's happening in the classroom. So you're able to start from a place where parents feel like they're on the same page, and they know what to ask questions about. So that being said, I'm handing it back over to Alice. Alice, I'm excited to see what you want to chat about today with Schoolytics.
Hey, thanks. I am excited to be here. I'm Alice Keeler. I have co-authored the book, Stepping Up to Google Classroom. I'm obviously a big Google Classroom user. Now, a lot of those things that Anna was talking about are based on pain points. Well, Google Classroom is awesome. Couldn't it be even better? And that's really my life motto. Couldn't this be better? And that's one of the things I like to do when I code. And of course, Schoolytics does that as well. Oops, going a little bit too fast here. I'm like trigger happy tonight. Apologies. So Schoolytics is where Google Classroom just got better. So if you would sign up at schoolytics.com, it is free for teachers. And if Melody, if you can just drop in the link to the homepage, we can get you started there. You can sign up for free. So if you are a Google Classroom user, this is the biggest no-brainer. It's free. It just enhances your Google Classroom. It's those things you wish that you could do. Because I do love Google Classroom. It is so easy to use. It connects with Google accounts. I was using Graspable Math earlier, and for the class that I'm teaching, it is not allowed to be on Google Classroom. And I'm just like, oh my gosh, I have do all of these manual things to try and get these websites and information out to my students. Or if I just had Google Classroom, this would all be so much easier because Graspable Math, first of all, syncs with Google Classroom rosters. Doesn't like a lot of products. Like I really want Google Classroom, the collaboration, the roster sync, all great tools. But you know, seriously, there's a few head scratchers. It collects all of this great data, and data is not a four-letter word. Data should be able to make learning more powerful. When I have the right information that is timely, and that's really the key. Getting my benchmark scores 3 months later is useless. I need to know right now how my students are performing, and I have all kinds of different ways that I want to break it down. I don't want to just know how did my overall class do, although that's helpful, but what about my subgroups? What about my students of focus? How did they do by period? How did they do by topic and unit and subject? Like, if I just want to ask these questions, and it's just nearly impossible to get that information out of Google Classroom, and it's really a head scratcher. And parent communication, let's be honest, it's a weakness with Google Classroom. So we have a solution for you, and that is Schoolytics, because supporting teachers requires good data, and that's what Schoolytics is going to deliver for you. You're going to get much better data from Schoolytics, and all Schoolytics is doing is they're pulling your Google Classroom data and formatting it in a really user-friendly way to help you to answer those questions. Now, if you are a coach, if you're an instructional coach, if you are an administrator, and you're willing to support teachers, you can't support teachers based on your feelings. Uh-oh, I think something didn't work. Okay, apologies. I just got a little pop-up message that we broke the stream. So if you are a coach, if you're an administrator, Schoolytics allows you to get that information to really know not only where each teacher has strengths and where they need support, but each student, each subgroups, where students who are maybe second language learners or have an IEP, how are they doing and what is working for them and what's not working for them? I usually can't answer that question other than my gut feeling. And as a coach, since I'm not in there every day talking to students, I don't have that gut feeling necessarily. So Schoolytics is really going to help you to coach your teachers and get the right information to be supportive. What are your school goals? Are you trying to increase critical thinking tasks? Do you want to make sure you're covering the standards? What standards are students doing well at? What are your key standards and how are students performing? Are your students being creative? Are we doing creative activities or just a lot of same old, same old? Are you looking to increase the 4Cs? Your school has goals. They've paid for these ed tech tools. Are they even being used? The only way to really answer these questions is to have good data. And so in Schoolytics, what you'll notice is when you log in, you have all kinds of lovely pieces. Here on the very left-hand side, you see that you have an option for reports. And you have all of these different reports that really organize your Google Classroom data so much better. And I just love, love, love this topics, tags, and categories. This topics, tags, and categories, what do you have to do to make this happen? Absolutely nothing. It's just going to show up right over there. So as you organize your Google Classroom by topic, you're going to be able to get that great information about that topic. Now for tags, you will have to put a little bit of effort into there, but I'm going to tell you, it is totally worth it. So the little bit of effort that you're going to have to put in is in Google Classroom assignments, you're going to want to have a hashtag. So you'll notice when I create an assignment, I just push enter a couple times as I write the description, and I just like hashtag the standard, hashtag the tool, hashtag the subject, hashtag which of the 4Cs am I using? I want to do hashtag critical thinking, hashtag collaboration, hashtag communication. Is it an individual task? Individual, hashtag group work, hashtag class discussion, hashtag warm up, hashtag exit ticket. And I like to do the tools, hashtag Jamboard, hashtag quizzes, whatever it is that I'm using. I put a lot of hashtags in my assignments because I can't know unless I label it, right? So does this assignment address standard 7? Well, who knows just by adding an assignment to Google Classroom. So you're going to do hashtag standard 7. Am I having students do creative tasks? Are we using Google Slides? I do hashtag Google Slides and I do hashtag collaborative slides because I love students collaborating. So that's up to you. You can hashtag this any way you want. Just want to try and be consistent to get those hashtags into your Google Classroom assignments because this gives us better conversations. My goal is to increase the critical thinking. So there's 4 levels of critical thinking. That's Webb's depth of knowledge, DOK. DOK1 is recall and memorize. DOK2 and DOK3 are going to increase your critical thinking levels. And DOK4 is where we allow students to do really complex reasoning. So I'd like to have just a little bit more DOK2 and some DOK3 more than it did last year. So here's the great part about Schoolytics. I can get some analytics out of last year's class, compare how I'm doing to this year's class. So I'm going to put these hashtags into the descriptions, and I want to look up how are we doing on DOK. I can see the number of assignments that are DOK2. That's the next level up of critical thinking. The number of assignments I'm assigning, that's DOK1, and I set myself a growth goal. I'd like to have this a little bit higher. That I can see how each student breaks down on those. If they're doing critical thinking tasks, how they do on warm-ups. If I give them Google Docs versus a quizzes, I will tell you, hashtag quizzes. My students will do a gamified platform like Kahoot, any of these things, whatever it is, they're going to do it. Whereas some other things, I see, you know what, they don't engage as much with that. I can use that data to help build what my lessons are going to be tomorrow. But we want a goal set together. We want to review data over a date range. We want to look at subgroups and see how they're doing. We want to support individual students. Now, again, if you're a coach, you're an administrator, then we all need to be on the same page. We need to have the same information, look at that, and really see how are individual students doing, how are groups of students doing, and then say, okay, what are they good at? And that really starts with getting the right hashtags so you can have those great conversations. You can have the conversations with parents, or you can have the conversations just as a coaching team. So you're going to set the guidelines. How is your school, department, district going to organize their topics? How are you going to be consistent on indicating standards? And what common hashtags are you goal setting for so that when you look at the data across, say, all of the algebra classes, we're all using hashtag DOK3 and hashtag MP5, right? Mathematical practice number 5. We're going to be some common agreements so that we can look at those. But let's be honest, it's a little tricky to remember what those are. So don't worry, Schoolytics has your back on that as well. In addition to being able to look at and goal set on the guidelines and hashtags that you're using, this is so lovely. It's like my new favorite thing is it has a communication log, and this is part of the free in Schoolytics, is you can go in and document. Did you have a conversation with a student? Did you make a phone call? Did you send an email? Did you talk to the counselor? Who did you talk to? What kind of communication was it? I do a lot of text messaging with parents. So you're able to log these in there, and then we can see by student they really have had interventions, that we can look across teachers and see that this student is really being embraced by the staff, that we're doing everything that we can to really help them to be successful. The communication log is awesome. So when you drill down to an individual student, you're going to click on, you notice along the top, it says student log. So if you click on that student log, that's where you can add a new entry, that you sent an email, that you sent a text message, that you just squatted down next to a kid and had a little chat with them to give them an encouragement. Get all of those pieces in there so that when you do have a meeting with the counselor or you do have a meeting with the parent, notice that you can export that. So you can bring that log with you to show this is what we're doing. We are doing everything we can to help this child to be successful. Honestly, a game changer. But here's the real game changer: sharing assignments. So this is what I was alluding to earlier. If you want to have common protocols, common hashtags, the best way to do that is to share the assignments where the hashtags are already in the assignment in the first place. So we're going to look at the Schoolytics Workspace. This is what you've always wanted. You create an assignment in Google Classroom. How do you share it with somebody without them being co-teacher? Schoolytics is your answer. So on the left-hand side of Schoolytics, you'll notice that it says Workspace. And when you click on that workspace, you can go to assignment history and you can find your assignments from Google Classroom, and then you can share them with someone else. Now, the way to share is you got to go to My Schoolytics Workspace. Think about a workspace course as a shared folder. So you're going to create a folder. So it says My Algebra 1 course, but really what that is an organization, and it lets you organize by units. It's an organization of the assignments that you want to share. Now, when you share that workspace course, everything you put in there is automatically shared. So it's not like you have to share assignment by assignment, but you have complete control over that. Because you don't just say, hey, share my whole class. You say, I'm going to post this assignment and save it to my workspace, organize it up into this folder so other teachers can access it. Now, if you're a coach, this is what you want to do. You want to create a workspace course. And then you're going to put in those sample assignments, best practices, and preload in the hashtags so you have consistency across the department. Manage the sharing where you share it with all the teachers, and the teachers are able to just go in, reuse directly from Schoolytics into their Google Classroom. And then you have consistency across the department, and see if you don't grow. Having just the right information and consistency and how you have data helps you to make the right decisions. Now, this I think is cool because a lesson plan does not stand alone with the directions that you give the students. There's this whole complex element of the art of teaching. So just sharing an assignment with you, like, what is this? What am I supposed to do? Do I first start with direct instruction, or do I allow the students to explore first? Like, how does this exactly work? So when you are sharing an assignment from Schoolytics to Google Classroom, notice you have this space to add instructional notes. So you're able to link to Google Docs, you're able to write a note, write out the flow of the lesson, how it's supposed to go, so that when you do share it with another teacher, they know how to deliver the lesson and those key tips. So again, consistency, getting the hashtags in, and then having instructional notes. You just can't do that with Google Classroom. Schoolytics makes it even better. Now, of course, we all looking for how to save time so you can grade faster with Schoolytics. Grade faster with Schoolytics. And so this is really simple. So when you log into Schoolytics, the first thing you see is this lovely dashboard. And it gives me this circle graph that says, Alice, you only have 62% of your assignments graded. And I have a personal goal to keep it at 86% or above. So if I drop below 86%, I feel highly motivated to jump in and grade a few assignments. And so if I just click on grade assignments, and don't freak out about that grade 135. If you have 100 students all day, it's going to say 100 because that's how many have submitted. But I'm going to click right on there where it says grade, and it's going to take me to what has been submitted, sorted by timestamp. Sorted by timestamp across all of your classes. So do you see up at the very top, it says, welcome, Alice. And I can select the date range, and it says class name all. Class name all, so it's allowing me to see all of my classes, all of my students. And if they turned in something late from 5 months ago, I'm going to know it. Schoolytics is going to surface that right to the top of my list. I'm going to save so much time not tracking down student work. I don't know about your students, but mine tend to turn in everything at the last minute. Here's all of my late work. And I don't want to have to dig through Google Classroom to find who turned something in. Schoolytics is going to help me do that so much faster. I estimate that last year when I was turning in grades for the progress reports, that I saved a minimum of 4 hours. Like I blasted through getting caught up. The students had turned things in at the last minute. But I also just save all this time because I don't get behind anymore. When I have this information that lets me know I'm keeping up with my grading, everybody wins. I don't fall into the pit of despair because I got behind on grading and I'm just slogging through all the student work. I'm in a much better mood because I'm able to do it and keep up, so which means I'm getting better feedback that's timely, and timely feedback is going to improve student learning. So this is just a win-win-win. You just log into Schoolytics and click right there, grade assignments. And you get this nice table of all of the assignments, and I click on turned in at. Turned in at, it's going to sort it by timestamp. You can actually click on any of those headers. You can sort by student name, you can filter by student name, you can filter by group. If you have a group of students that you're really working on doing some goal setting to improve, create a group of those students and just look at their work and how they're performing. And all of those reports, everything can be broken down into the groups that you create to really help you get rid of the noise and focus on those students that you're really trying to focus on at that particular moment. That could be by class period, it could be by subgroup, it could just be some students who are on the football team, and you have to weekly report how their progress is. And you can report on their growth, which is a really powerful thing to be able to do. And you can bulk download progress reports to a Google Doc. That is huge. But progress reports to a Google Doc is going to be a big time saver for you because not only are you able to get that progress report, you can customize it, which is just something you cannot do with Google Classroom. In fact, it's really kind of difficult to get a progress report out of Google Classroom anywhere close to the way that you want it. So here you're able to break that down, edit it, and share it. Now, missing assignments can be posted to the stream. I use this all the time. A lot of our kiddos don't have email or they don't check it, one or the other. And so I'm able to take like, hey, from this last week, you can set the date range. So you can do all their missing assignments or just the missing assignments from this week or even just yesterday. And you can post individually to each student, hey, this is what you're missing. Why don't you get on it? This is what I've been using for when I have a sub. I'm like, okay, you're going to check Google Classroom, go to the stream, see what missing assignments you have, and you're going to get caught up. And I'm able to send that individual note to each student. It's right there in Classroom. The sub doesn't have to do anything other than let students log into Google Classroom. And you can bulk notify the students and their guardians of their missing assignments and the progress reports. So Schoolytics, let's all be on the same team. Well, thanks for joining us. And if anyone has any questions, Anna and I would love to be here to answer those with you. Feel free to put them down in the chat. Be sure to log into Schoolytics.com and just click on login up at the upper right. You're going to sign in and you're going to be able to log in right with your Google account. So it's really fast and easy. And again, free for teachers. Anna, do you just want to mention a couple of things that are not free for teachers?
Yeah, definitely. So, in addition to the free teacher accounts, we also have Teacher Pro. That's a great option if you've been teaching for multiple years in Google Classroom and you have tons of assignments that you want to reuse or start from. So, with Teacher Pro, you can sync up to 100 classes at a time. That's a great way to be able to reuse old assignments. You can also um, copy guardians if you have Teacher Pro. So Schoolytics will search, find all of your guardians, and then as soon as you as soon as a student is missing an assignment, if you're sending that student a message, you can also copy their guardian. So the parent knows exactly what is missing. And finally, this just came out last Thursday night, Alice, bulk progress report sharing with guardians is out. So
Huge.
that means you can create progress reports for all of your students with one click, and you can add to share those progress reports with students and guardians. So those are all amazing Teacher Pro features. And if you think Teacher Pro is cool, then you're going to be blown away by the school-wide teacher plan. This lets everyone in your school be on the same page. Students can have an account and they would see all of the assignments in one place.
Oh, well, thank you. Thanks everyone for joining. You can sign up for free at schoolytics.com. Coaches, if you want to check out the demo view, if you just go to schoolytics.com and go under resources, it says interactive demo. So under resources, go ahead and click on that interactive demo, and we're going to explore the interactive demo. And you can see up here at the top that you can see what it looks like. Students can log in for free. When students go to schoolytics.com, they're going to be able to see across all of their classes what missing assignments they have, how they're performing, and then they're also able to break this down so they can do it by class or by time, like how am I doing this week compared to last week. So especially if a student who's really struggling to get caught up and they're trying to get out of trouble with their parents, they can show that they're doing better this week than last week, which is going to be really great for encouraging our students who struggle. And then you can click on admin if you want to see what the school-wide accounts might look like, what kind of information you can get to really help you support teaching and learning. Thanks, everybody. Have a great evening. Thanks for joining us. Oh, there was a question. Do I have to connect the classroom to the class I create under Schoolytics? Yes, on the left side, when I go to teacher, it says classes, and you can connect 10 classes, up to 10 classes for free. Teacher Pro, you can have, is it 100, Anna?
Yep.
Yep. And I think there's no limit if you are a school-wide account. But it's really easy. It's super fast and easy. And you can even toggle it. If you have more than 10 classes, you can switch which 10 you're looking at. Thanks, everyone. Thanks for joining in. I know you're going to love Schoolytics as much as I do because it saves me so much time. But better than that, I have such better conversations with parents, better conversations with students, better conversations with the counselor. We're all on the same page.